The individual who made a complaint against Christian Horner seems to have filed an official complaint with the FIA after being rejected by Red Bull. Last month, Red Bull GmbH launched an international investigation against Horner, which was later dropped, but the Red Bull CEO and team principal's actions is now reportedly being investigated by the sport's governing authority. According to the BBC, the complainant has submitted an accusation with the FIA's Ethics Committee on allegations about Horner's behaviour, which the 50-year-old has always denied. On February 2nd, the FIA Ethics and Compliance Hotline received the original complaint, which expressed fear that Red Bull might attempt to cover it up. The second complaint, filed on March 6th, referenced the first and warned that the whistleblower would next notify the media. The FIA ultimately sent a statement to the media. It reads, "At the FIA, inquiries and complaints are received and managed by the compliance officer and the ethics committee where appropriate. Both bodies operate autonomously, guaranteeing strict confidentiality throughout the process. As a consequence, and in general, we are unable to confirm the receipt of any specific complaint, and it is unlikely that we will be able to provide further comment on the complaints that we may receive from any parties." Christian Albers, a former Formula One driver who has previously worked as a team management in the sport, says it is unfortunate that there is so much disagreement over the Horner situation and how it is generating strife inside Max Verstappen's Red Bull Racing. "On the one hand, it is un-Formula One. We just want to be busy with the sport and what's going on," Albers said on De Telegraaf podcast. "On the other hand, you are actually, as Red Bull Racing, a multinational company. Then you have to behave accordingly and act professionally. We all know that something stinks, because if you go and look, and Zak Brown, McLaren, has also said this, you don't see the reason there is no openness, there is no transparency. We don't even know who this barrister, the lawyer who did the internal investigation is. You name it. You know absolutely nada nothing." Red Bull Racing's parent company, Red Bull GmbH, conducted an internal investigation and rejected the claims against Horner. Nevertheless, the female employee is expected to submit an appeal. As part of their due diligence, Red Bull GmbH appointed an independent lawyer to oversee the inquiry, and the KC questioned Horner for almost 9 hours in London in February. A day after the investigation was halted, WhatsApp messages purported to be from Horner were given to members of the media and other F1 executives, but Horner refused to confirm their validity or comment on what he called anonymous speculation. Conversations about Horner continued throughout the season, and he was questioned about the team's working environment in Saudi Arabia. When asked by Sky Sports F1 if Red Bull Racing currently had a good working culture, he replied, "Yes, absolutely. You know, Red Bull Racing is the most followed sporting entity of any sports team in the world. We've got an incredible team, an incredible group of men and women that are doing an amazing job, without which we wouldn't be achieving these performances." Last week in Jeddah, Horner said that he wanted everyone to draw a line under the problem and return to racing. He has continuously denied any wrongdoing and indicated that it was unfortunate that the alleged evidence against Horner was leaked to high-ranking Formula One executives and the media, resulting in a lot of coverage. A Red Bull Racing spokeswoman stated they were unaware of the situation and refused to comment more. The lady filed an official complaint with the FIA after deciding to appeal Red Bull's rejection of her complaint. A lawyer undertook an inquiry before Red Bull made their choice. Last week, Red Bull suspended her from her team position. Many F1 figures have pushed Red Bull to be more honest in this instance. McLaren Racing CEO Zak Brown has called for more transparency in Christian Horner's investigation. "I think it's disappointing that these allegations surfaced. I think it's very concerning. From what I can see, a lot of people still have a lot of questions. There is a lot of speculation. There is a lot of rumour, a 50-page report, a 100-page report, etc. Everybody being in the dark makes a lot of people uncomfortable. I think we need to rely on the FIA as our regulator. They have the responsibility and the authority to make sure that everyone in F1 is conducting themselves in a way that is appropriate to the sport's values, both on and off the track, because we're all brand ambassadors. I'm just hoping the FIA had full transparency, and it's been very thorough. We haven't really heard from them, so my expectation is to hear from our governing body that they have seen what the report is and they agree with the conclusion." Max Verstappen was dragged into the turmoil when senior advisor Helmut Marko started to doubt his future with the team, prompting Verstappen to emphasize that Marko's departure would also have an impact on his future. "No individual is bigger than the team," said Horner, who Josh has urged to quit Red Bull, later clarified. However, Josh claims that his three-time world champion son is not interested in any of this. However, it is a diversion that may last indefinitely. "It's part of it, but it's also necessary to calm down," Josh told Sporza in regards to the apparent Red Bull power struggle. "It is necessary to regain calm in the team, but given the circumstances it will take some time, I think. I can't say much about it. Hopefully they can concentrate on racing again soon, because that's what it's all about. The important thing is that he, Max, keeps winning, whatever he does. The car is running very well, and between the engineers and him there is also nothing wrong. Max can switch off a certain part, only he gets a lot of questions about it. He doesn't like that, but it's part of Formula One." When Max Verstappen lands in Melbourne this week for the season's third Grand Prix, he will find a Red Bull racing team as dismantled as the one he left in Jeddah. The Verstappen camp believes Christian Horner should quit, and until that happens, the three-time world champion may retire himself. Verstappen will undoubtedly face questions about the present status of Red Bull Racing and his personal future as long as Horner is still in control. Adrian Newey will be AWOL from Melbourne, as anticipated. The designer has remained in England to work on the RB17, the fastest street car being built by Red Bull. Helmut Marko will attend the occasion, but in Saudi Arabia he feared being penalised for alleged media leaks against Horner, which did not occur, thanks in part to Max Verstappen's unambiguous stance. "Helmut goes, I go." Marko will be questioned by journalists about the events in Jeddah. The woman accusing Horner has a new lawyer who has obviously done extensive study on the subject. As a consequence, the outcome of the appeal cannot be anticipated prior to the Melbourne Grand Prix. A response from the FIA's Ethics Committee is likewise not anticipated anytime soon. Yes, Horner and the situation at Red Bull will once again be the centre of attention. After meeting with Horner on Friday, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, president of the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, recognised the severity of the claims about his treatment of a female employee. "It's damaging the sport. This is damaging on a human level." Horner and Ben Sulayem met in Bahrain on Friday, one day before Red Bull started defending its Constructors and Drivers' Championships on the Middle Eastern island state. Ben Sulayem refused to elaborate on what the two men spoke about, but he did say that a lawyer conducted a thorough investigation on behalf of Red Bull. The FIA president went on to highlight how important it was to protect our sport from all of this. "It is the beginning of the season. F1 is becoming so popular," he said. "We just need to enjoy the beginning of the season. Look at the competition. Why do we overshadow it with negativity? What are your thoughts? Will Horner come clean after all of this drama? Or will there be major changes at Red Bull? Let us know in the comments section below.